Welcome to ReadRise English. This is a place for you to grow. Here, we do something special. We help you practice English by reading and listening to true stories, not boring grammar. Lessons, not complex textbooks, but true stories. About real people who changed their lives. Stories that teach you English and teach you about life at the same time. March 2022. Will Smith walked into the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles as a king. He was the world's most beloved movie star, the man who always wore a smile, and tonight, he was almost certain to win the first Oscar of his career. But just hours later, everything crumbled. A joke, a moment of losing control, and a slap that echoed around the world. In a split second, the hero turned into the villain. Decades of building the image of the perfect man collapsed like a sandcastle before a fierce wave. But this story doesn't start with that slap. It started long ago, in a kitchen in West Philadelphia, with a boy who always lived in fear and believed, only if I am perfect will I be safe. Today, we won't just talk about fame. We will talk about the price of perfection. This is the true story of Will Smith. Born in 1968, Will Smith grew up in West Philadelphia, a tough place. Outside the door was street violence, but inside the house, Will's biggest fear came from his own father, Willard Carroll Smith Sr., also known as Daddy-O. He was a refrigeration engineer, a man who believed in iron discipline. He did not accept mistakes. For Will, his father's love came with fear. The boy quickly learned an important survival skill, humor. Will realized that if he could make his father laugh, he would be safe. If he made everyone laugh, they wouldn't hurt him. Humor became a shield, and a smile became his first mask. Although exceptionally smart, enough to be noticed by MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Will had another dream. He wanted to be a rap star, and at age 16, destiny let him meet DJ Jazzy Jeff. In the 80s, rap was the voice of the streets. Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff created a fresh breeze, happy rap, no cursing, no violence. In 1989, at just 20 years old, Will Smith stood on top of the world. He won the first Grammy in history for the rap category. Money poured in like a flood. And like many poor young men who suddenly become rich, Will made a classic mistake. He spent as if there were no tomorrow. Luxury cars, jewelry, lavish parties. He wanted the world to know the kid from Philadelphia had made it. But he forgot one person, the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. One day, a debt notice arrived. Will owed the government $2.8 million in taxes. Imagine, you are 21, a superstar, and now you are completely bankrupt. The government seized everything: cars, houses, reputation. From a Grammy hero, Will became empty-handed, living on pity. That was his first rock bottom. Right at his most desperate moment, Will received an invitation to Los Angeles. A producer named Benny Medina had an idea for a TV show a street kid moves to live in the rich area of Beverly Hills. Here, Will met Quincy Jones, a powerful music mogul. Quincy demanded Will audition, right on the spot, at a party full of executives. Will was scared. He had never acted. He was a rapper, not an actor. But his survival instinct rose up. He acted, and he got the role. The show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was born. It not only saved Will from debt, though 70% of his salary was deducted straight to pay back taxes in the first 3 years, but it also taught him how to work. If you watch the first episodes, you will see an interesting detail. Will Smith mouthed the lines of the other actors. He was so worried that he memorized the whole crew's script. He was afraid he would fail again. But then, Will found his depth. In a classic episode, when Will's father figure abandoned him again, Will cried uncontrollably and asked Uncle Phil, "Why doesn't he want me?" That wasn't acting. That was the real pain of a wounded child rising up. The audience cried with him. Will Smith had officially become an actor. When the TV show ended in 1996, Will didn't want to be just a comedian. He wanted to be the biggest movie star in the world. He studied the top 10 highest-grossing movies of all time and found a formula: special effects plus monsters / aliens plus love. And he applied it ruthlessly and precisely. 1995, Bad Boys proved he could do action. 1996, Independence Day, the movie became a global phenomenon. 1997, Men in Black solidified his status as the box office king. In just 3 years, Will Smith went from a sitcom actor in debt to the most powerful man in Hollywood. He was a guarantee for revenue. Any movie with him made money. But right then, a big mistake happened. He was invited to play Neo in The Matrix. Will refused because he didn't understand the script and chose Wild Wild West instead. The result? The Matrix became a legend, and Wild Wild West was a disaster. That lesson was carved into Will's mind. Victory doesn't always come from safe calculations. By the 2000s, Will had it all: money, fame, a dream family with Jada Pinkett, and talented children. But he still felt lacking. He wanted recognition. He wanted to be seen as a serious artist, not just a funny rapper in blockbusters. He started hunting for an Oscar. He transformed into the boxing legend in Ali. He lost weight, trained madly. The first Oscar nomination came, but he lost to Denzel Washington. He tried again with The Pursuit of Happiness, acting with his son Jaden, a role that took tears from the world. The second nomination came, but he lost to Forrest Whitaker. The failure to win the Golden Statue made Will even more obsessed. He began imposing perfection on his own family. He wanted to build the Smith family into a flawless brand. He pushed his son Jaden and daughter Willow into showbiz from a very young age. But that control backfired. After the disastrous failure of the movie After Earth, which he made specifically for Jaden, and Willow shaving her head to protest touring, Will realized he was using his children to fill his own ambition. Outside was a bright smile, but inside the million-dollar home, Will and Jada's marriage was on the brink. They publicized their troubles on Red Table Talk. Jada admitted to an extramarital relationship. The whole world gossiped and mocked. Will Smith, the man who always wanted to control his image, now had to sit there, listening to his wife confess her pain before millions of viewers. The hurt accumulated. The pressure to appear still okay, to be the noble husband, the perfect father began to weigh heavy on his shoulders. He was wearing a mask that was too heavy. And then we returned to Oscar night 2022. Will Smith was nominated for his role in King Richard, a movie about the father of tennis legends Venus and Serena Williams. A father protecting his family at all costs. When Chris Rock joked about Jada's bald head, who was suffering from hair loss, something in Will snapped. Perhaps it wasn't just about the joke. It was the explosion of decades of suppression. The fear of not being able to protect loved ones, like when he saw his father beat his mother as a child, the pressure from public opinion, the mockery about his marriage, all concentrated into one slap. Will won the Oscar that night, but that victory was stained with tragedy. He cried on the podium, speaking about protecting family, but the world only saw a man losing control. After the incident, Will Smith retreated from the public. He apologized, resigned from the Academy, and began a journey of therapy. Will Smith's story is not just about a star. It is a lesson for all of us. Will spent a lifetime building a perfect wall to hide the scared child inside. He believed that if he was the best, the richest, the funniest, he would never be hurt. But life taught him, and us, that perfection is the enemy of happiness. You cannot heal internal pain with external success. Admitting you are wrong and weak is true strength. Will Smith fell painfully right at his highest peak. But as he did when he was bankrupt at 21, the story doesn't end here. The path of redemption and finding inner peace is the hardest role and the most important one of his life. And perhaps, when shedding the burden of having to be a legend, Will Smith can finally truly become a human